All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a legendary guest today. He may not be here in the flesh, but his spirit is as alive as ever. Give a warm welcome to the one and only Bill Hicks. Bill, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here, even if it's in a ghostly form. You've been a comedy icon for generations, and now you're gracing us with your ethereal presence. How's that for a career trajectory? So, Bill, you've traded comedy clubs for haunting them now, eh? That's one way to keep the laughter alive. Good to know the afterlife hasn't dampened your sense of humour. And how's the spirit world treating you? Eternal open mic nights, huh? Sounds like a comedian's dream. Or nightmare, depending on the crowd. Ghost hecklers? Now that's a wild crowd. So what have you been up to lately? Opening, ghostly things, passing through walls, haunting conspiracy theorists, the usual. So you're probably wondering, what does a spectral comedian do in his downtime? Well, my friends, it's a lot like your life, but with a little more ethereal flair. I mean, who needs doors when you can just float through walls, right? This ghostly life is all about the freedom. No queues, no traffic, no need for an Uber after a late-night gig. And speaking of gigs, haunting comedy clubs is a hoot. Imagine being the ultimate uninvited guest, floating through the crowd, whispering punchlines into the ears of unsuspecting comedians. It's like being the puppet master of laughter, pulling the strings from beyond the veil. But it's not all fun and games. There's a strange sort of loneliness in this spectral existence. You're there, but not quite. You can see and hear everything, yet you can't touch or taste. It's like being stuck in an eternal sensory deprivation tank, with all the time in the world to think and reflect. And boy, does it make you question reality. Like, what is consciousness, really? Is it bound to our physical form, or can it transcend beyond, as I have? Are we more than just a collection of memories and experiences housed in a mortal shell? Is life just a complex simulation, a cosmic joke, with death being the punchline we're all headed towards? And while we're on the topic, what's real anyway? I mean, here I am, a ghost having a conversation with you. Does that make me real? Or are you just a figment of my posthumous imagination? Are we real, or are we just characters in someone else's story? It's all a bit mind-boggling when you think about it. Closing. Whoa, deep thoughts from beyond. I need to spark up some DMT to process that. Funny thing though, even in the afterlife, I still can't escape the existential dread. But hey, at least I've got eternity to figure it out. Until then, I'll just keep floating around, whispering jokes into the ether and messing with conspiracy theorists. It's the little things, you know? So, Bill, what's the deal with ghost hecklers? Do they have ghost tomatoes to throw? Joe asked, a hint of laughter in his voice. Bill, or the ghostly manifestation of him, chuckled, the sound like wind rustling through dry leaves. Nah, they just boo silently. It's like being heckled by a mime. You see the disappointment, but you can't hear it. Joe's laughter rang out, mirthful and infectious. That's a whole new level of tough crowd, he admitted. The conversation then took a more serious turn, as Joe asked, but seriously, your comedy had a lot of social commentary. What would you say about the state of the world today? Bill took a moment, his spectral form reflecting a thoughtful silence. Joe, the world's still a carnival of absurdity. If I were alive, I'd probably have a field day with social media. It's like a never-ending open mic where everyone's a comedian, but no one's funny. Joe nodded, the sincerity in his voice mirroring the gravity of Bill's words. True that. It's a comedy club of chaos out there. He paused, then asked, anything you'd like to share with the aspiring comedians listening? Bill seemed to lean in closer, his voice taking on a conspiratorial tone. Keep questioning, keep pushing boundaries, and never be afraid to piss people off. Comedy is the last refuge of the truth-teller. His words hung in the air, a spectral manifesto for all those who dared to wield humour as a weapon, a shield, and a mirror to society's follies. In a world that often felt like it was teetering on the brink of madness, Bill's ghostly wisdom served as a beacon, a call to arms for the jesters, the satirists, and the comedians. For they were the ones who held the power to expose the absurd, to question the status quo, and to dare us all to laugh in the face of adversity. After all, in the grand cosmic joke that was life, we were all just playing our parts, one punchline at a time. Keep questioning, keep pushing boundaries, and never be afraid to piss people off. These are the words of the late, great Bill Hicks. Even from the spectral realm, his advice for comedians is as poignant as ever. In the world of comedy, there's no room for fear or complacency. Comedy is about shaking things up, challenging norms, and forcing us to confront the absurdity of our existence with a hearty laugh. Comedy, as Bill Hicks saw it, is more than just a source of entertainment. It's a platform for truth, a pulpit from which to shout the uncomfortable realities that society often chooses to ignore. In a world where the truth is often twisted, buried, or outright denied, comedians are the truth-tellers, the jesters who dare to mock the king. They're the ones who make us laugh and think, often at the same time. Bill's ghost, with his trademark wit and biting social commentary, reminds us that the world is still a carnival of absurdity. He imagines what it would be like to navigate the world of social media, a never-ending open mic where everyone's a comedian but no one's funny. It's a poignant observation that cuts to the heart of our digital age. In the grand, cosmic joke of life, comedians are the ones who get the punchline. They see the world for what it is, a stage where we all play our parts, often unknowingly. But through their humour they reveal the script, stripping away the artifice to expose the raw, unvarnished truth. The advice from Bill's ghost to aspiring comedians is clear. Be fearless, be provocative, and above all, be truthful. Comedy is not just about making people laugh, it's about making them think, making them question, making them see the world in a new light. Wise words, Bill. All right, before we wrap up, any ghostly predictions for the future? Well, as Bill's ghost reminds us, predicting the future is like trying to predict the punchline before the setup. It's all unpredictable, and that's the beauty of it. Oh, Joe, predicting the future is like trying to predict the punchline before the setup. It's a lot like stand-up, really. You see, in comedy, you're always playing with the unexpected. You set up a scenario and then you flip it on its head. That's where the laughter comes from, the sudden surprise, the unforeseen twist. Now apply that to life. It's the same game, just on a grander cosmic scale. We make plans, sure, but life, like a good comedian, knows precisely when to deliver the punchline. And that punchline, my friend, is the unpredictable future. It's the sudden turns, the unexpected events, the surprises that life throws at us. It's what keeps us on our toes, keeps us guessing, keeps us laughing. So embrace the uncertainty, relish the unexpected. Remember, the future isn't something to fear. It's the punchline we're all waiting for. Well, Bill, thanks for joining us, even from the afterlife. Keep haunting and making the cosmic audience laugh.